Hello, podcasters! In this episode of the Brainstorm Broadly podcast, I am here today with my buddy Saren. Today, we are talking about identity formation in teenagers, as it is a very overlooked topic that everyone should be informed about.
Adolescence is often described as a time of turbulence with growth and self-discovery. It's when we ask the big questions: who am I, what do I stand for, and where do I fit in? These questions lie at the heart of identity formation, so grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's explore how we become who we are.
To be able to understand identity formation, we should understand what identity even means in a psychological perspective. Identity refers to our sense of who we are as individuals, as members of a social group. It also refers to our sense of how others may perceive and label us. Identity encompasses the memories, experiences, relationships, and values that create one's sense of self.
The formation of the identity is born from the environment and all of the subunits in said environment. Family is often the first and the most enduring influence on our identity, provide the foundations of our values, beliefs, and sense of security. But as we enter adolescence, peer groups begin to play more prominent roles. You can look at one friend and be able to tell the difference between them and you from how you grew up and how you act.
Me and Saren have had multiple different life experiences that contrast to each other and formed who we are today. Growing up, I lived a very non-social life. I was always moving around from town to town and I never really got the chance to make long friendships. Looking back at my childhood today, I can see I never really had a friend. It wasn't until grade 4 I made my first and only best friend. That friend was the only one I talked to and I'm still in contact with them today. I was such an introverted child growing up. I was nervous and I would even say antisocial. I lived in a house with 4 cats and I barely had any in-person social interactions for almost 2 years. A funny story is when I moved in with my dad, I had a roommate. Her name is Ava, and we weren't related in any way, so that's why I considered her a roommate. But one time she was facing away from me, and I wanted to get her attention, so I got her attention by going psst, 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 psst. And after saying that, I had to take a moment to pause, and then I just realized that if I call her name, I'll get her attention. I find that really funny, because I was just surrounded by cats. But my very antisocial childhood has really made an impact on my ability to communicate today. Even today, I'm very introverted, but after a while of learning, I can communicate now. But I'm still pretty bad at starting a conversation.
So in my childhood, I did move around quite a bit when I was younger. But growing up, I did start, live in this Kenora area. That's where I learned. But due to the fact that my younger years, my more kind of molding years, I learned that kind of friendships are kind of they don't really last long, and that really kind of affected me in my earlier life. And I was starting to realize that's a problem today, considering the fact that now relationships mean way more than they did when they were 4 years old. And because now I'm starting to learn that there's a lot of friends that I've lost and a lot of egos that I put up with for a while just to think that I was going to be gone with. But growing up, I always remember I had a sense of anxiety that I was doing something wrong, and what I'd do is I'd hide it and I'd mask it by trying to do better with my siblings and stuff, because at the end of the day, right, whatever impact I left, I felt like I didn't have a problem with it, because I was going to be gone anyways, or didn't really matter, because I had other things to worry about, I thought, and my emotional well-being was not one of them. And it hurt my siblings so much, to a point that they started calling me a general and just mean names, to a point of me just being a kind of a controlling guy. And I didn't care about it at the start. It wasn't really something that I thought was a problem. But it did open up another sense of insecurity of people thinking that I was bad or I was wrong. So that also affected my social life too, seeing that if somebody didn't think I was smart or the best at something, made me think they didn't want to be my friend. And so then I stopped having lots of friends, because people would tease each other, and they'd get to a point where they say I'm dumb, and then I just try to leave them alone. And but also, while growing up as a kid, I enjoyed having the idea of many friends, but also hated that many people would be in my life and that would find out stuff about me. I hated the fact that people might know that I was imperfect and whatnot, and that kind of grew me as who I am today. And only now am I realizing, in my 17 years of living, that that's not healthy, and I am planning to change that. So yeah, that's my identity formation.
Miss Bishop, how would you say that the way that you were taught by your parents affected the way that you taught your children?
Well, I grew up in a household with my mother and father and two sisters. My dad was a teacher, and my mom was also a teacher, but she decided to stay home and raise us. So we had a very loving family, a very typical kind of way of growing up.
Understandable. So with that typical life, would you say that typical life carried on to your children's life?
Yep, that's kind of the values and things that I wanted to give my kids. I stayed home while they were younger to raise them. Then I went back to work when they were school age. Kind of just tried to provide them a stable, loving home.
So, to try to be more like identity formation, if, let's say, do you think if you grew up differently in a different household, let's say single parent house or something, do you think you would have raised your kids differently, or are these moral beliefs that you have to your core that you believe in any type of scenario you would have? Like how you raised your kids, let's say in Africa would be the same you do it in America, or let's say you grew up like something so like obscure, like let's say you grew up with like brown hair and that changed the way you can view stuff to much as how you would raise your kid.
That's a good question. I think how you grow up does shape how you parent. But that being said, I would have always hoped for my kids to have good values and morals and judgment, that they grow up to be kind and respectful. Those are always things that I would wish they would have. So I guess I was just fortunate that my parents were able to role model that for me, so that I was able to role model that for my kids.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time. Good evening, Mr. Nielsen. We have a couple questions to ask for you. How would you think that the way that you grew up and parented by your parents affected your parenting to your kids?
Well, I think there are some large influences for sure, and some directly correlate to how I would parent. I guess two ways to look at it. I think the things that I loved and appreciated about being parented a certain way are things that I would want to transfer into my own household and how I parent my own children. At the same time, things that I may not have liked or appreciated, and if I'm aware of those things, I'll try to avoid those as a parent in my household. So the good and the bad, it's you take everything and you just try and do your best job. So by all means, you take the good, you take the bad, and you try and do your best.
Yeah.
And my question is, if you were raised even like minuscule different of being in a different sport or in a different, environment, do you believe that some of your core beliefs you would still have to this day?
For sure. Not necessarily, I'm not sure about core beliefs, but how I parent my children and how the lives of my children would have changed. For example, if I grew up in a soccer household, maybe my kids would be playing soccer. I grew up in a heavy hockey household, and so my kids play hockey. And so I definitely think the environment that you grow up in has a heavy influence on who you are as an adult as you grow up, for sure. And in turn, how you parent your kids. My father was a big fisherman as well, and so I grew up fishing, and now we still go fishing, and my dad still takes all of us fishing and my kids fishing. And so yeah, the household I grew up in for sure has a big impact on how my kids are raised. But for sure, if my father didn't fish, I probably wouldn't have fished either, right? And then my kids wouldn't fish. Mm-hmm. And so I believe in that butterfly effect for sure. Small changes and little things when you're young can turn into a big difference when you're old, I guess. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.
You're welcome.
So when it comes to social media, everything kind of goes downhill for teenagers.
Oh yeah, just like
the impossible like standard social media will give us
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Like the suicides due to social media are actually kind of high. Like if you really look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, especially things that you can do online now, it's actually so like wicked.
Oh no, yeah.
Because it's like, one person, you know, they have this ultimate body form, and one person looks at them and is like, I want to become that. And then they can also, when being online, you can be whoever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of creating like this perfect online persona to be who they want to be or who they're being pressured to be.
And also like the fact that you can make like your own personality online can actually make you hate yourself more in like your everyday life, because like you start being like, well, when I'm online, because it's easier to hide behind a screen and you could be as, you know, have so much bravado
Yeah.
online than you can be on in person. And you know, so you can make like this entirely fake personality online, and then that could just actually like really crumble your actual self, your actual personality.
Yeah, 'cause
it's nothing like it. Like the way I am online, it shouldn't be, but like the way I am online is definitely not how I am
Yeah.
in person.
And like, to go on top of what you said, like, let's say, because you're indulging yourself so much in this online persona that you've created for yourself, because what else is someone supposed to do offline?
Mhm.
Because being online has just become the social norm, and like, you know, it's just who they are, and they indulge themselves so much in that persona and who they think they are, that when they see who they actually are, you know, it's not a cool experience. Like, I'm not like math smart, but I'm
Yeah, but
just
that's the thing though. Like I've met people that can make essays just happen out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but can solve some basic math questions. Like, it just like sometimes most people's brains are a little different. Like some people
Yeah.
have like more like building blocks kind of brains. Some people like memory. Like memory is a big one. Like some people just have a real good memory. So if you show them something, they'll just remember it forever. Some people are like, they just could see something and kind of like just see how it works already. Like there's
I have kind of like a pretty vivid memory when it comes to remembering things.
Mhm.
Because like I see it and then it just kind of burned in my brain for a little bit. So then if I see it again, like, I remember that, but I don't know from where.
Like I try to think like a little like logically. Like I just try to think like, okay, well, this is how this kind of works, so then this would make this kind of like this, and that leads me to like kind of getting some shit wrong, because like it's not entirely right, but like I've like it's been able to like help me figure some stuff out even better. Like I think like a little like analytically. Right?
Yeah, I think I try to like look at things from a different perspective like all the time.
Mhm.
Like, and it just makes me so angry when other people can, because it's just like, get on, like, see what I'm seeing and like get out of whatever you're in to be able to see what I'm seeing. Because like, I know it kind of makes me a bitch, but I get so angry when people like can't get on the same level as me. Like, I know everyone's different and like, you know, no one can control that, but it's just like, please understand. But it's just like, when I'm talking about something and like I'm talking about a way that I understand, and like no one around me can understand it and I can't explain it differently, like it just makes me feel so small, because it's just like, understand me. How is it that hard?
But like what I just realized when like something like that happens is like there's 8 billion people in this world. Right? Like not everybody can understand it. And even if like nobody understands it, 8 billion people, there's gonna be at least one person that also understands it.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I don't know. I don't let that stuff stop me. Like if it like gets to a point where like I can't do anything in my area because of how I do it, then yeah, I'd switch it up then. But like, if it's not stopping me, why not just try to like improve on it?
Yeah.
Because like that too is like everyone wants to think they're a special snowflake. 8 billion people just now. That doesn't mean like how many people were before you. Like let's say like 2 generations ago, you think you acted like this is the first time they've seen something like this. You know, somebody act like this. Bet you 3 cousins in 2 provinces away, there's somebody acting exactly like you. You don't even know, right?
Yeah. It's weird.
It doesn't make it like you like less significant, but it just makes the world more like makes it more cool. Honestly, like the fact that like there is so many people in this world that are like you. Like, so, like, you don't have to try to fit in this area if it really hurts you. Because there's for sure somebody else that acts exactly like you, and you can find great relationships like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that understanding, like, you know, you can be living in a spot where you're just like, geez, I'm alone, like, going through this. But then if you, like, take time to just think and find, like, other people, then, you know, it's a little bit easier to think that someone's going through something else that makes them feel like they're alone, and there's someone going through the exact same thing as me. Because it's like, you know, it's like kind of cringe, but like 21 Pilots, a band, they tell people, like, because the lead singer Tyler Joseph went through depression and like almost killed himself, but he didn't. And through his songs, he tells people that have depression and think that they're alone and they're the only people feeling like this. They're like, dude, you're not alone. Hashtag stay alive, because you can get through this. It's like, oh, it's all about, like, I saw a tweet by the lead singer he posted the other night, and he was like, so a lot of people say that my music saved lives, but my music only uncovered what people already had, which was courage. And just reading that was like, oh my god, this guy's a genius. Because, oh my god.
If only 21 Pilots, because 21 Pilots has been around for how long?
Yeah, it was like 2006.
Exactly.
It was before we were born.
Exactly.
That guy started writing music when he was 16, and he's like 32 now.
If only Kurt Cobain was able to listen to 21 Pilots.
Yeah. Jeez.
Whole different guy, though. Whole different story. I mean, no, get it. No, yeah, like, stuff like that. It's cool.
Like, I've never been in the shoes of someone with depression, but I can only just imagine what it would be like in their shoes, though. And then just being able to know that you're not alone, especially with someone that with fame and have followers that have been through the exact same thing. Like, that feeling that, like, whoa, I'm not alone, and other people are able to gain the courage to push through this. It's just like, I could do it too.
And another thing, too, is, like, you might actually have depression but not think you have depression, and have that depression hurt you, and the fact that you can't see it being a thing. But it's like people, like, want to view depression as being the lowest anybody can ever be, and that's just not the case. If, like, you could be at a low in your life and you think it's the worst, and then I could grab somebody else and show them that their highest is actually lower than yours. Right? So that most people, they don't want to see depression as being like, oh, I have depression, because they always feel like this, they feel insignificant, they feel like they're crying about something, right? Because, like, somebody else is going through it worse. But it's your health that you have to worry about too.
Yeah.
In my mind, and how everything's going in my world and how I've reacted to stuff, it's really bad right now. But I can't say that because there's so-and-so in Africa that's starving. You don't see him talk about his depression. That's because he has to first worry about survival, but we're wondering about if he likes the color blue or not. Like, there's two different like, so many different perspectives. Like, that's the thing too, is, like, everybody wants to try to, like identity formation, like, everybody wants to try to, please everybody. And in everybody's mind, there's a different perception of you. So instead of trying to please 8 billion perceptions, why don't you just try to love yourself and love your own perception? Because the only person that will know you is yourself.
Yeah.
So if you start to, you know, have those building blocks of what you want, like your morals, your principles, how you want to be treated, if you want to work hard at this, if you don't really want to, you know, support this, and you build those up, it's easier for you to accept the fact that people aren't going to like you. And that actually helps people like you in the long run, because, like, when you're actually confident and it's not like cockiness or arrogance, or right, you're a way better person.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
depressed people can be cocky as hell because they feel insignificant. They don't feel worthy of anything. So what's another way? What's a way to feel worthy? Oh, you bloat about it, right? You make these far expectations where, like, you talk like this, but then you only back it up this much. So you never really ever do anything, right? You just stay in this, like, this kind of area. And that's insanity, right? It's doing the same exact thing and expecting a different result. And that's just never, like, you really expect to really succeed if you're just putting these high standards up, or these, you know. Yeah.
Because growing up, I have had a sibling with depression, and they were put in the grippy sock jail for it. It's like,
oh yeah,
psych ward or whatever.
Yeah. Grippy sock jail.
Grippy sock jail.
I need that one.
But growing up, I never like knew about like what it would feel like and how I would behave if I'd have that. Cause everyone, like even including me, everyone views depression as someone who can't get out of their bed in the morning because they don't have the motivation, and like this and that, and like even Regan, she's experienced that. So it's kind of hard to have like a different view of like what actually depression is, when even people who have experienced depression have that same. It's like they just can't get out of bed in the morning. Cause growing up, no one lives the freshest life unless like you've like actually lived like a decent childhood. But and I've been the same way for my entire life, and like obviously I've gotten better now with like the help of my friends and like Layton and all that.
Yeah.
But like it's gone to the point where I have figured so much about myself that I want to be diagnosed with something so that I know that this just isn't me. Because dude, I'm like there's so much wrong with me, and it's just I don't want that to be it. It's like so difficult to explain, but like that's the best that I can explain it.
That sucks. Yeah, like I'm trying to learn to love myself. Like that's why I realized why look for an answer that's just gonna make me feel bad about it? Why not just accept I do want to search for like why do I feel like this? Like you can't suppress emotions. You can't. They just come back in a different way. And usually that way is in rage.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to suppress or control your emotions, right? Why not try to learn to understand your emotions? Why not try to learn why do I act like this? Why did I react like this? Why do I enjoy this more than I enjoy that? And why does adding this factor into something that I like just make me not want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And if I start to realize what those answers are, it helps me to be able to understand myself way more, and to realize that like everyone wants to feel like that. Every human in the world, for some reason, everyone wants to feel so low in life. Like that's why Radiohead's biggest song is "Creep." All right, like everyone loves that feeling of just feeling like sad and whatnot. And to a point where they don't love themselves anymore. To a point where like they don't feel good anymore. It's like I don't know. I don't want that for my life. I realize I don't want that for my life. Like I don't want to feel like Radiohead every time I wake up.
I have like a wicked deep connection with music, and it's like that like sad music that Radiohead would produce. It makes other people get the chance to be sad, but it doesn't really. I don't think it gives them support. Like it gives them knowledge that like they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like depressing songs, it's like that feeling of sadness. It's just like this artist can relate to me.
Yeah.
And it's just, dude. I love music so much. It is the most beautiful form of art out there, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
I love music too, but like I love music. I'm listening to music right now, but I do like trying to find like new music stuff. But I feel like the best art has to be paintings. Like I suck at painting. I absolutely suck at it. But when I see a good painting, I can feel the emotion in it. I can see what the person was going for. I can see what he felt. What he was trying to give off. Why, like it's just something about that. Something about a visual representation hits so harder than like.
Sorry, there's this artist on TikTok, absolute beautiful painter. Like the portraits he makes, just like, wow, how do you do that?
Yeah. And
like, it's just so fantastic. But the last TikTok he drew before the ban, in quotations.
Yeah.
He drew a self-portrait. In the self-portrait, he just looked so sad and like devastated. It's like, dude, this better not be how you're feeling all the time because you're so silly. Like the first thing he does, like he holds two paints by himself, like he was like painting in like two same hue colors or something. It's like yay, and then he just draws like the most depressing self-portrait. And it's like, dude, where did this come from?
That's the thing though, like most artists hate themselves.
Yeah.
And the way they cope with it is making music, dedicating like most artists do not like. That's why they're so snobby too.
Mm-hmm.
They're so insecure about themselves. That's why they come off as like horrible humans.
Yeah, but because music can be expressed in so many different ways, and along with many different art forms, but like in like this generation of people, like it's the most entertaining,
Mhm.
and it's like easier to understand than a painting, because sometimes people just don't like looking into things, but if you just hear, and you don't have to focus much to be able to hear like an emotion. And I just find the ability of like music just so captivating, and just like, wow, how do you do this? And especially lyrics and poems, like
Oh, yeah.
that's beautiful.
My
Like-
favorite part about music is like the melodies. Like I
Oh, yeah.
love, like, lyrics are great and all. Like, to be able to tell a story in a song, that's beautiful. But like the way, like, I can feel like something like goes off in me. Like every time I hear a bass or like a string or something, right? There's like a flicker in my
Yeah.
head. Like I love it. Like it just makes me feel like a certain way.
Music dead ass gives me chills.
No, for real. Like,
Ugh, I need that in me. I
yes,
need to be in a song.
Yes, exactly. I need, like, but that's also why I like art too, is because like I do have to look into it. I do
Yeah.
have to put a little effort to be like, what does this mean? And to find something out of it just makes me have like some sort of like joyous kind of
Yeah.
attitude towards it.
And it's so beautiful, like finding out like deeper lyrics and songs. Cause like again, Tyler Joseph, 21 Pilots, like his older music from like 2000s. Oh my God, that man was a lyrical genius since day one.
Mhm.
Because you listen to the lyrics and it's like, oh, I think it means this. But then if you go deeper into the lyrics, like, dude, it means this, and it's a complete different contrast. And it just, how do you come up with this when you're
Exactly.
16 years old?
Exactly.
Like, it is, oh my God, the metaphors that man is able to produce, like, dude, it's beautiful. And honestly, because there's also another topic that he talks about, and that's like popularity and the music industry. It's like,
Mhm.
does the music want this, or like actual good, like really dope music, or just follow what everyone else is doing? Because if you listen to Tyler Joseph, like when he's 16, you can hear like all the different things, but then now he's following the norm, and it just sounds like really boring. But that's because no one's gonna listen to his music then,
Yeah.
because it's not how it is today. And in one song,
At the end of the day, artists still need to eat. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
because there's one song where he talks about that train of music and stuff. I completely forgot what the line was, but it's just, he talks about the music industry in it, and it's just like, if I don't do this, then like nothing's gonna happen.
mhm.
Like, and like he wants people to listen to his music so we can actually spread the knowledge of #stay alive.
Yeah.
Cause like, dude, I find it so beautiful. Cause, before the newest album dropped, like, the quote was "Stay alive," and then it changed, and I think it's still alive now. And I just find that really beautiful. It's
That-
like, whoa,
It's actually, yeah, it's poetic almost. Yeah.
yeah, that man, dude. Oh my God, bro, just the lyrics. Like, there's one song where it's called "Addict with a Pen," where in that song he talks about cutting himself. And then also his struggles with his religion, because he struggled with that a lot, and he talks about running through sand with water in his hand, the rhyme.
Yeah.
But then as he walks through the sand, which is all the struggles in life, the water begins to drain through his hands, and he can't control that. That's like his hope, almost, and it's just fading away because of all of the struggles that he has to walk through. It's like, dang.
I don't know. Another thing I do too is like, there's art even in the world. Like, even like in this -40 weather, even that's art.
Yeah.
Like how this looks, how this represents. Like, that tree's dead right now. That tree's dead right now. In summer, it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that feel like it just change over time? Like, as long as you're patient, you stick with the path, or you stick with the determination, or you just say, well, life is beautiful. Oh, blossom back by spring, right?
Yeah.
Like, everything, like, it's just a matter of like, can you yourself realize that there's meaning to this meaningless life?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely so much meaning, but does anybody have the energy or time to look into it?
Well, I feel like I don't know, like right now I feel like it's meaningless right now, right? It's just a matter of just like playing along this little game that we made called life, because like how the universe is so big, like on a
Yeah.
greater scale, like Well, we're not exploring the world right now. We're still on this little rock. This little rock is what we, is what the only thing we know.
Yeah.
So why not try, have fun with that? Why try to look for like the bigger meaning right now when I don't even know what the bigger meaning in between myself is? And like, you put it on a grand scheme of thing, like the Milky Way. Like, how important are you?
Yeah.
So why not like find the joy in this little life? Why not find the joy in fall, right?
Like this little life.
Exactly, right? Stuff like that, like I am really curious about the outside stuff like that.
Oh,
I'm
hell
really
yeah.
curious, right? I want to see an alien. That's the other thing.
Let me
too.
help.
Exactly, right? I want to fly away to Mars and meet a guy named Gleb, right?
Yeah, come on.
What if Gleb's from Mars?
No wonder why he's so good at math.
So he got here, damn it! He's trying to get back home right now. That's why he's in foundations. Foundations.
Yeah, he forgot how gravity works as soon as he landed on Earth.
I should have been paying attention to Newton. If only I wasn't on a different galaxy, thousands of years away
Oh,
from him.
dang it, man.
Damn it! If only I knew that works.
Gosh darn it.
If only an apple fell on my head.
I just can't believe that it took an apple falling on someone's head to be like, well, this exists.
Well, no.
And not like somebody jumping.
Yeah, I want to understand what his theory is. Like, he's never had something fall on his head for him to like now have the coherent. Like,
Maybe
I guess
the apple just like made him smarter.
that maybe like his brain is sort of was like, holy.
It hit
guys.
his frontal lobe and he's like, oh my god. Like, you know that scene in Paul where he like shows the girl like everything?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
What happened with the apple?
Oh my god, like, bro, Paul is actually such a funny movie. I
No,
love that
actually.
movie.
I watched it with Leighton, dude. It was so awesome. And so, dude, the two actors, they have such a strong bond with each other. I found that just amazing.
Oh, the two main guys, eh?
Yeah, because Leighton was telling me a story where like one of the guys got hired for a movie.
Yeah.
But not the other guy. And now one guy put up such a big fight. He was like, dude, you can't hire me if you don't hire him. So after like this long battle, they finally got both of them. So that guy does not go anywhere with him.
Bro, that's crazy.
Or without him.
Yeah.
But it's
No,
just
those guys are also in another movie, another British movie, like something like Cops or
Yeah.
whatever.
and then there's like one about like zombies and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
dude, I wanna watch like every film that they made together.
Bro,
Or,
it's
like,
just two friends having fun. Like,
No, actually.
it's so funny.
That's like what I strive for. I strive for like such like a nice long bond. Cause you know, freaking The Basement Yard.
Mhm.
Joey and I forgot his name.
I don't know.
Oh no, Joey. Joey and his friend.
Yeah.
So they've been friends for 40 years. And I find that just wow, that's beautiful, man. And it's like they're funny people, like they have dreams, they've done this, they've done that. And it's like I want at least one person in my life to be with me and like be there for my highest highs, lowest lows, be there when I get married, be there when I have children, be there to like literal death, you know? And I know like a lot of people have to strive for that, but it's just such a beautiful connection that I see in people. It's like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a matter of finding that person.
For me, because I grew up with so many siblings, I've always had that kind of like we're so like my youngest sibling right now is almost turning 10 years old, so like all of us are gonna be in our 30s together, all of us are gonna be in our 20s together for a day every day. So like I've always had kind of like an I've seen my brother grow up, right? I've seen him change, right?
Yeah.
But like I strive for like some stoicism, like try to do my own thing, you know, and not because I don't want to meet people. That's the thing, is I want that stoicism, I want that nomadic life, so I can find these people in different corners of the world,
Oh, yeah.
and they all come together to celebrate. We have this kind of like, yeah, I like this guy. Yeah, we come together, we like do that wedding stuff, right? Do that, go to a bar, or whatever, right? But like, yeah, like I wanna. That's another thing too. Is, like I don't strive for like relationships as much as I just strive for like different clashes of like worlds. I really like that stuff. I really like that stuff interesting to me. Like somebody's like how somebody lives in Alberta could be so much different than how somebody lives in Saskatchewan. Maybe not as much as like a bit like here's living in India, and here's living in Siberia. But I mean like just like little subtle things that like you go, oh that's weird. We do it like this over here. And,
You
like,
know,
oh right.
because like when me and Reese went to Toronto, they don't even have co-ops. Big cities, they don't have
Yeah.
co-ops. I was talking to somebody in the line about co-op. They're like, oh, what's co-op? I'm like, there's no way you don't know what co-op. Come on.
Where's the cameras, guys?
Yeah, come on. Funny joke.
Thanks, Albert. Caught on, you guys.
Dude, it was just mind-boggling. I was like, and then I remember my time living in Saskatoon. I was doing co-op. Living in Kansas? No, one down the road. You know?
I think the first time somebody asked me about co-op, I just saw like the greatness of the card block. It's just how great card block is. Like
Like, obviously, I know
So like, what if I told you there's a way you barely have to pay for gas? Dude, they say you need to fill up right now, but you don't got the money. We got it. Just down the street in this weird area where like nothing else except for truckers and like some pit stop fill up. You can free gas.
Free gas.
Which I know it's not free, but I mean, like in the moment,
Yeah.
no cash is required. Like it's just so cool.
Yeah, there's so much vast differences between living in like a town and city.
Mhm.
Like it's like so weird almost because city you have like all these connections. You can go so many places. You can do this, do that. And when I moved from Saskatoon to here, it's like, dang, this place is boring, so boring. And it's so hard because I had one in-town friend at that time.
Yeah.
So I literally had nothing to do.
Still
So
have one too.
oh fuck. So I had nothing to do, so I'm just walking around, and that's so boring because there's no mall. I don't have. But Saskatoon, dude, I walked so much. I walked. Let's say I just made it up 8 blocks from my house. Walked around the mall for 5 hours. Walked back 8 blocks to my house, walked to the park, which is 2 blocks away, then walked to the gas station, which is 5 blocks away from the park, and then walked back to the park and then back to my house. Dude, I don't understand why I wasn't skating. I had so much fat on me.
That's another thing. I've lived on the reserve my entire life. But I think like during COVID, I didn't even go outside my
yeah.
yard. Like, I was fat growing. Maybe I was running around outside for like most of my like years in like in elementary school. Because I'd be going to recess, play soccer, like that. I come home, I play in the sand dunes right next to my house. And I was like pushing 200 when I was like 13 years old.
Like, there's like no way. And then like looking at people now, like 2 years ago, grade 8, like I looked at Connor because like I have the little photo. I looked at Connor like,
oh, he was big.
No, actually, I was like, dude, I saw him walking on the road, like, what? Did he start going to the gym or something? Like, where did I go?
I like that's why I don't like the fat shames. Cause like
Yeah,
because sometimes it's like up to them. It's just a matter like they decided to put more work into their education. They didn't work it out
Yeah.
for not. They didn't survive the tactic anymore. We don't need this fight or flight.
Yeah.
We're not hunting deer.
And it's
Or
straight
whatever.
up, just normal part of life now.
Yeah.
Like, if we look at me and you from like 2 years ago, dude,
We were big.
we were big. If we look at everyone from 2 years ago, everyone had chub on their face.
Or they
and
were
then
really
now,
skinny.
yeah.
Right?
And then now, it's like, we're normal now.
Mhm.
And like, dude, I've always struggled with body, like my own body, my
Yeah.
entire life. Because growing up, dude, I'd like get ready for a shower and I'd like look at my rib cage, like, dude, I need to eat. And then like, so I eat more. And then two like years later, I'm like, dude, why did I eat?
I never really had a problem with like body image. Like I was in football, so that means like
Yeah.
the more power you had, right? I was also running around like, and honestly, like nobody really fat shamed me, like because I never really thought I was fat, and I never really brought up like this like yeah, sure, people are like, oh, you're on the bigger side. I was on the hefty side. Like my grandmother, I remember she told me, we were watching this commercial. She's like, oh, Sarah, you have a pot belly too, it seems. Because there's a pot belly. She's like, football players aren't supposed to have that. And I was like, oh, really? I went back to the dinner table, started eating my seconds. Like I didn't like it wasn't something I was really concerned with. Really. I don't know why. Like, just I kind of like myself for the fact like, but that also brought like more insecurities. Like I found other reasons to hate myself.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that like body image wasn't a problem for me. Like,
Yeah, that's like a dream to like so many.
like probably there was a point at one time I was like, man, I'm fat. But that was during like COVID years.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I was like, man, I'm fat. But I didn't have a phone, so I wasn't snapping. So nobody knew I was fat other than myself and my family.
Yeah.
And they already didn't care. So like it was just a matter of me being like, I want to kind of lose weight. Like, I just made a goal, be like, one day I want my stomach to like kind of come out a little bit. I don't want it to be big or like I don't want the double D's anymore. Right? I didn't want the double D's.
Dude, because oh dude, I have to finish my math test.
Oh, we got it.
We gotta skedaddle it.